Leonardo da Vinci is often credited as the first person to ever come up with the idea of a tank-like structure during the 1480s. However, it wouldn't be until World War I when tanks as we know them today would be used in order to get past stalemate-like problems from trenched warfare. Since then, tanks have become a staple for every major war, and I'm sure it will come to the surprise of nobody that if we live in a world full of car enthusiasts, train enthusiasts, plane, bikes, scooters, buses, tractors, boats, and even, I don't know, skateboard enthusiasts, you can be pretty damn sure that tank enthusiasts exist, and then some. Tanks, the real-world depiction of choosing a wrestling-like character in a beat-em-up game, slow and awkward to move around, but if you get hold of your enemy, you're gonna cause some serious damage. And whilst we're on the subject of video games, tank games have been around for the longest time, like since before the Atari 2600. 1974's brilliantly titled Tank arcade game started it off, and we even have another game very similar to that top-down style called Tank Battle, coming soon, hopefully, for the Intellivision Amico. Anyway, as great as these tank-like arcade games are, if you're looking for a more realistic tank experience, you may be surprised to hear that War Thunder is one of those more realistic games. And no, this video isn't sponsored by them. It is just what it is. Yes, okay, certain liberties have been made with the creation of this game, and boy oh boy do tank nerds love to point them out. However, when it comes down to the actual design of the tanks themselves, Gaijin Entertainment, the Russian game designers behind the game, do a fairly reputable job at recreating history's most iconic military vehicles to a level that's not a million miles away from what you would find in a Forza or a Gran Turismo. Or at least, that is what you would think. You see, it's not as easy for Gaijin to go and grab themselves a tank and go for a quick test ride on all different types of terrain as it would be for Microsoft to go and grab a random supercar and go for a quick spin around the Top Gear test track. In fact, a lot of the information needed to build these tanks is obviously classified, resulting in those tank enthusiasts arguing amongst themselves in War Thunder message boards and Reddit, trying to one-up each other with their own tank research on how these already pretty damn impressive models should have been created. And one of those members was Fear_Naught, which by the way is the name of a charity song by the band of Royal Tank Regiment. Obviously, Fear_Naught was very passionate about tanks. And what helped was that he was a serving tank commander and training instructor in the tank division of the British Army. In particular, he had a keen interest in the Challenger 2 tank, which was a model that he himself worked with on a daily basis. As you can imagine, within the world of tank enthusiasts and even the average War Thunder message board user, this guy was a heavyweight celebrity. As stated, his tank of choice again was the Challenger 2, a machine that constantly finds itself somewhere in the multiple top 10 War Thunder tank lists out there. Plus, it helps that it's still very much active to this very day. In fact, it's even being used by Ukraine to defend themselves against Russia. And just in case you need any more clarification that this is quite a good tank, ever since it's been in service from 1998, it has only ever lost in battle once in its entire history on September 5th, 2023. Yeah, obviously it's a very good tank. And according to Fear_Naught, as great as the in-game design of the Challenger 2 model was, the tank's weakest point, the turret mantlet, was far from accurate. And for those out there that don't know what a turret mantlet is, and don't worry, I had no idea what it was before I made this video, it's essentially the area that connects the big gun bit to the big tank bit. And as the big gun bit needs to aim up and down, it makes this turret mantlet area, aka the bit that connects the two, a bit of a weak spot, an area that is more penetrable than the rest of the tank itself. Oh, and just for clarity, this is a common weak point for many, many tanks. But according to Fear_Naught, Gaijin had made it too weak. And as you would expect, this resulted in pages and pages of kicking off from angry tank nerds, disputing his claims as, again, the Challenger 2 is by far one of the most well-known tanks in the world, and Gaijin had actually done a pretty bang-up and respectable job recreating it. But again, if anyone's gonna know, it's gonna be this guy, right? Exactly. He works with these machines daily. He knows them better than anyone, and the more people that tested his expertise on his most passionate of hobbies / job, the more wound up he got. There was only one thing left to do: to keep his pride intact, to shut up all those non-tank commanding spotty enthusiasts, and to rightfully keep that totally non-imaginable title of King of the Tank Nerds. He posted classified images and schematics of a Challenger 2's turret mantlet whilst it was undergoing routine maintenance in said public forum for the whole world to see. Yep. Now, I don't have these classified images, and even if I did want to show them to you, which I don't, the Wayback Machine has actually had this forum thread completely deleted, so I can't show them to you even if I wanted to. But did that matter? As supposedly the images shared by Fearnaught that I have fantastically recreated here had a fat declassified stamp slapped onto them, so surely they're fine to be shared about, right? Well, nobody was really sure. Supposedly the forum thread's vibe changed from that of an angry tank nerd arguing about the thickness of that tank part that you just learnt about, to that of, I don't know if I want to be a part of this thread anymore. But again, if anyone's going to know what they can and can't share when it comes down to schematics and pictures of this tank in maintenance mode, then surely a tank commander / trainer would know that, right? Still, people, aka the mods, were just not sure. And whether it was because they were angry that Fearnaught had just got the better of them, or more than likely they didn't want a weak point being shown on a public forum for a tank that was actively being deployed because, well, that literally puts the lives of many frontline soldiers at risk, they decided to contact the development team, who in turn contacted the Ministry of Defence. And when they got their response from the MOD, they updated the thread.
We have written confirmation from MOD that this document remains classified. By continuing to disseminate it, you are in violation of the Official Secrets Act, as stated by the warning on the cover of the document.
Again, I have not seen the document, so I can only assume it had a big fat red classified stamp on the front. Anyway, let's continue.
An offence which can carry up to a 14-year prison sentence if prosecuted. Of this you are already aware. As a service person, you have signed a declaration that you understand the Act and what actions it compels you to take. Every time you post this, you place us, international representatives of Gaijin, especially any UK citizens, in hot water, as the warning so helpfully states that unauthorised retention of a protected document is an offence.
Ooh. Hold up, but he won that argument against the tank nerds, right? I mean, technically, yes. Maybe. Who cares? My guess is that he did know what he was talking about, but the victory was short-lived, as obviously the thread was soon deleted, the tanks in War Thunder never got updated anyway, as Gaijin respectively only recreates the tanks based on what is publicly available knowledge, and the supposedly declassified images that the short-lived King of the Tank Nerds had shared were actually not declassified, as he had supposedly slapped that declassified stamp on himself in, I don't know, what, MS Paint or something. This resulted in a verbal warning from the War Thunder moderators, and even though the thread was deleted, plenty of other threads were created in its place so that everyone could have a good old laugh at the King of the Tank Nerds, which still gets brought up to this very day. And don't you worry, the Ministry of Defence were not done with him either. As news moved from the War Thunder community to the mainstream press, they had no choice but to up the ante, as the army got involved, who launched an internal investigation to find out exactly who the hell Fearnaught actually was, which they did rather quickly. And if, and this is a big if, the user Eraser4090 is to be believed, he claimed to actually know who Fearnought was.
He's not a tank commander and not in the Royal Tank Regiment. He is a vehicle mechanic in the Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers.
Wait. If, and again that's a big if Eraser is telling the truth and does know who this guy is, not only was he putting out classified information and claiming it was declassified, but he was also saying he was a tank commander, when in actual fact he was a tank engineer? And I don't understand why you would lie about that. I mean, you don't go telling people your main job role and name, blah, blah, blah. But isn't a tank engineer, or whatever he did specifically, still going to be extremely respectable in a forum where people talk about the minute details of tanks? Either way, it doesn't matter. He had his reasons, however lame they may have been. And what did he get as a result? A hell of a lot of shame. Well, that and whatever the Ministry of Defense did to him. Did he get dismissed? Did he get banished? Did he go to prison? Who knows? And unlike other topics I cover on this channel, we're never gonna find out. Still, I think we can all agree that behind the scenes justice was served, which is probably why he renamed and eventually deleted his War Thunder profile. Long live the king of the tank nerds. But hang on. Does he really deserve that title? As 1 year earlier in 2020, classified manuals for the T-69-2G tank were shared online, whilst forum members argued the tank's thermals. Later in 2021, more classified documents were leaked into the forum showcasing the Leclerc tank's turret rotation speed. In early 2022, another leak popped up, this time for the ZTZ-99 tank, and another for the UHT-665 Eurocopter Tiger helicopter in late 2022. And finally, as we move into 2023, we got not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 leaks popping up on the forum sharing information about several of the in-game fighter jets. 5 of which happened in January alone. And the latest one happened exactly a week before I scripted this video. And that's just the ones that we know about. Now, not everything shared here was obviously top secret or highly classified or whatever, but every single document did include things that were classified, meaning that they were definitely not for public consumption. It's obviously a real shame that War Thunder is struggling to combat, with more and more leaks popping up from angry military vehicle enthusiasts that are obsessed with winning internet arguments and hoping that the clout gained from said arguments will result in their favourite vehicles in a video game being updated in said video game. However, and I'm sorry to break this to you War Thunder fans, but it's never, ever going to happen.
We never use them in our work, and that policy will never change. Development team does not even look at the contents of the documents. Moderators just check if the information on the military vehicle or armament in question is still classified or not. If the answer is a yes, we delete everything as soon as possible. Our game developers are never exposed to this information or the user posts that accompany the documents, so they are not influenced in any way by these situations. Anton Yedintsev, founder of Gaijin Entertainment.
And if you want to check out videos like the one you've just watched, plus see what I'm working on, the aim is to get all Patrons and YouTube members 6 videos ahead of the public, then you can do so by becoming a Patreon or YouTube member. Plus you'll get access to the Slopes Password Zone, where you get access to everything, and I do mean everything I have ever done, all without adverts, all without sponsorships, plus a crazy amount more that has never ever seen the light of day. And again, you can do that by signing up below, just like all of the names you're seeing at the bottom of the screen. This is the part of the video I would like to give a massive shout out to all of my Patreons, all of my YouTube members, with an extra big shout out going to the following: Vike Echo, Mind of the Unzane, Dina81, Arista, Ian Quell, Matt Jackson, John Rogers, Akatimo84, Derekuda, Stephen, Sir Nilsson, Kat Layton, Shade Silence, Overjoel Zane, Casey Samples, That Gamer, Ryan Burford, Todd Paul Float G, Andrew Dalton, Conrad Constantine, Bram Perez, Jeff Mianowski, Ye Old Hamburger, Ladina, Wobbles and Bean, The Wonder Ducks, Shadow Dragon, Richard Alderjic, Benjamin Guy, Jabba Al Aiden, Chev Matic, Nicholas Burtner, Mike Fallon, Clan Bob, Jay is Manchild, Roll VP, Action Saxon, James, Vitas Varnes, Ray Blair, The Sneaky Ferret, and Boots and Pup. Thank you to everybody that supports the show. However you decide to support the show, I can't thank you enough. Just giving this video a like, a comment, a share on any kind of social media or Reddit, anything like that massively helps. So yeah, thank you however you decide to support the show, even if you're just watching. Thank you guys, and until next time, this is DJ Slope signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.